The views and opinions expressed by the hosts do not state or reflect those of the company and its management. Furthermore, the views, opinions, and insinuations made by the host, guests, do not reflect those of the show, the management, and the network. Magandang gabi, Pilipinas. Across continents and beyond political boundaries, a legal battle unfolds. One that places leadership, legacy, and accountability under the gaze of the international community. From the streets of the Philippines to the chambers of The Hague, the case involving former President Rodrigo Duterte continues to spark debate, raising questions not only of justice but of politics, power, and national sovereignty. As the world watches and opinions sharply divide, the story moves into a critical turning point. Tonight, we examine the issues, the implications, and the narratives behind the headlines. Ako po si Ox Balyan, and this is the PH Insider on TV. At para higit nating maunawaan ang mga legal na usapin sa mga isyong ating pag-uusapan, makakasama pa rin natin ang nagbabalik na pinagkakapitagang attorney ng bayan. Good evening, Attorney Rizandro Unay.
Good evening, Kabalyero, at magandang gabi sa ating mga kababayan. Samahan niyo kami sa isa na namang oras na paghihimay ng mga isyong napapanahon. Ako po si Attorney Rizandro Unay.
At syempre, para naman tulungan tayong himayin ang mga isyong politikal at matalinong diskurso, veterano po sa larangan ng mga isyong politikal, matapang, diretso at matalino sa kanyang mga binibitawang pahayag at pagpapaliwanag, academician from the University of Santo Tomas and international relations expert, our resident political analyst, Professor Dennis Coronacion.
Good evening, Sir Ox and Attorney. Narito na naman po tayo upang samahan ko kayo na silipin ang mga issues na nagbabaga ngayon. Ano? So, magandang gabi po ulit.
Kompleto ang team natin ngayon, Dr. Dennis Coronacion.
Yes.
Ang nagbabalik na si Attorney Sandro Uday ay presente po ngayon. Ang headline na tinutukan ngayon o tinututukan ngayong linggo ng Sambayanan, ICC confirmation hearings, isyung politikal para sa mga abogado ni Duterte. Para sa kampo ng depensa ng dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, pawang mga drama lamang at walang konkretong laman ang naging presentasyon ng prosekusyon at mga kinatawan ng mga biktima sa war on drugs noong nakaraang International Criminal Court confirmation hearing sa kasong Crimes Against Humanity laban kay Duterte. Ipinunto rin ng mga abogado na may layuning politikal ang kasong kinakaharap ng dating Pangulo. Ayon sa legal counsel ni Duterte, target ng argumentong ito na pahinain ang impluwensya at pawalang saysay ang mga nagawa ni Duterte sa bansa. Iginit din ng kampo na may matagal ng polisiya ang pamahalaan na tulungan ang mga Pilipinong nahaharap sa kaso sa ibang bansa. Bagay na anilay hindi umano na ipakita sa sitwasyon ng dating Pangulo. Naniniwala rin ang ilang miyembro ng depensa na may kinalaman sa umiiral na political dynamics ang pagpapatuloy ng proseso laban kay Duterte. Kabilang ang umano'y layuning alisin ang mga itinuturing na hadlang sa kasalukuyang administrasyon. Sa kabila nito, kumpiyansa ang legal team ng dating Pangulo na makapaghahain ng matibay na depensa ang kanyang lead counsel sa nakatakdang rebuttal presentation sa ICC. Samantala, hindi dumalo si Duterte sa mga pagdinig matapos payagan ng ICC pre-trial chamber ang kanyang kahilingang hindi na personal na humarap habang dinidinig kung may sapat na ebidensya upang ituloy ang ganap na paglilitis laban sa kanya. Patuloy namang sinusubaybayan ng international community ang magiging resulta ng mga pagdinig na magtatakda kung uusad sa full trial ang kaso laban sa dating Pangulo. And now we turn to the issue shaping the defining moment, or this defining moment. I understand it's going to be the last day nitong confirmation of charges ng ICC.
Ngayon yata ang last day nila.
The first, the second, were okay, no? Nakapag-presenta naman ng maayos yung depensa, yung prosekusyon. Initially, anong reaction mo doon pala, Prof. Dennis, nung napanood mo yung first day?
Well, ano to, no? It's very explosive. Kasi inabangan ng lahat kung ano yung paglalatag ng mga argumento ng magkabilang kampo, no? And ang gaya nga na nasabi nyo kanina, parang political yung pinupunto ng defense lawyer o counsel ni former President Duterte. On the other hand, yung prosecution naman parang parang gusto sabihin na may kinalaman ng Pangulo at mayroong hierarchy of command upang maisagawa daw yung EJK.
Well, ikaw, Attorney
Yes,
Zandro, yung initial na reaction mo. Bilang isang abogado, of course, you have your own.
With due deference later on sa mga ipapaliwanag ni Dean Amado Valdez, ang nature kasi ng confirmation proceedings nito ay hindi pa ito yung trial na proper. Ito ay preliminary hearing pa lang ito. So dito pa lang hihimayin ng ating mga ICC judges kung meron ngang evidence to support the allegations or the charges. At kung i-confirm nila, ibig sabihin, yun ang mapoproceed sa trial. Now, sa nakita natin, mukhang tatlo yung charges. Hindi natin alam kung alin doon sa mga charges na tatlo ang i-confirm ng ating mga judges sa ICC para magtuloy-tuloy sa trial. Kasi pwedeng mangyari dyan, either yung tatlo ay tanggapin nila na para mag-proceed sa trial, depende sa ebidensya preliminary na ilalatag ng prosecution at depende rin sa pagdidiscredit ng defense. Pwede rin lahat yun ay i-reject. At pwede rin partial. Pwedeng isa lang ang pumasok or dalawa ang pumasok, yung isa ay i-reject. O kaya, pwede rin mangyari na yung ICC judges, kung kailangan, bitin pa sila sa evidences, pwede nilang i-require yung prosecution na maglahad pa ng karagdagang ebidensya. Because as you know, ito yung unang i-hurdle ng prosecution. Ang burden of proof ay nasa prosecution.
Precisely.
So, ang gagawin lang talaga ng depensa dito ay i-discredit yung ilalahad ng mga evidence or kaya yung mga allegations ng ating prosecution.
I think there's going to be a very long and tedious process that this
Yes.
trial has to go through, or even the determination of charges, given that, if I'm not mistaken, you mentioned earlier about 60 days before they're able to
Yes.
determine whether the charges are really
Kung i-reject
or tatanggapin in order for the trial to proceed.
Yes.
Ganun pala kahaba ito.
Yeah, mahaba kasi although ang alam ko iba yung procedures sa when compared to the procedures sa the local court. Pero balikan ko po yung sinasabi ni attorney kanina na although hindi pa naman talaga to yung formal trial, this is just a pre-trial stage. Pero tingin ko crucial din ho ito, kasi may nakikita ko at least two possibilities after this pre-trial stage o yung confirmation of charges. Isa dyan, pwedeng ma-dismiss lahat ng mga charges at hindi na magtutuloy yung trial. Ikalawa naman, pwedeng all of the charges or some of the charges will push through and matutuloy yung trial.
Yun ang mangyayari. Tante po ito, dahil karamihan po dito na mga chinarcharge natin dito, kinakasuhan ay mga presidente or ex-presidents. So, most likely, merong mga kaso na politically motivated talaga. Hindi maiwasan yan. Kaya wag tayong magtaka kung bakit yung takbo ng depensa ay papunta kaagad doon sa political motivation. So, template yan na defense palagi sa mga iba't ibang mga ICC cases na nagkaroon ng trial na sa ICC. So, yung palagi ang threshold ng pinaka-shelter ng defense.
Joining us on the phone is the Dean of the University of the East College of Law. Good evening, Attorney Amado Valdez, and welcome to the PH Insider on TV.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Maluwanag po ang dating ko sa inyo dyan, sir.
Yes, very loud and clear now. Thank you.
Okay. What I'm saying is, at this point in time, parang jury na ito, sir. But the court here is not just the formal court of the International Court of Justice. We have also the court of world opinion. Kaya yung opening statement will be narrative. Will this really fall under a crime against humanity? If I were the lawyer for the president, former president, i-compare ko siya kay Pol Pot. I-compare ko siya sa mga African dictators. So, makikita nyo that there is a difference. Yung kina Pol Pot, it was a genocide. Yung sa mga African, pinapatay nila yung mga taga-ibang tribo. But dito, if there are killings at all, which I think it could be defended, hindi naman nakalimit sa isang lugar, alam mo sa Palawan, gusto natin mawala lahat yung mga native sa Palawan, o kaya sa Zambales, where you are targeting a specific class of people. But the class of people here are criminals. The ones who are the more on the hindi victims to it, but they are the perpetrators. I could be a little biased, but I read history. And when I make that comparison with Pol Pot to one, malayo-malayo. And I think ICC, if they have the fairness, and if they have the justice in their heart, the decision na yan.
Meron lang po akong observation doon sa latag ng prosecution. It seems to me na ang theory talaga nila ay nag-zero in sa command responsibility doctrine ng nasasakdal na si dating Presidente Rodrigo Duterte. So kailangan nilang patunayan meron siyang authority and he knows what happened at there is a part in him that he failed to stop what happened, this carnage. Ito po bang command responsibility doctrine, mag-hold water po ba ito sa ICC?
Well, depended yung sa ebidensya dyan. But there was never any official governing policy to kill these people. There was an official policy na suppliin ng drug menace. And what do you expect from people who are drug users, etc.? Siyempre, lalaban ho yan. So, pag lumaban yan, there will be police can defend themselves. But still, hindi, wala din ang debate. Ang debate din if it is crime against a particular race. But there's never any case that is filed na sinasabing there's a crime against humanity. So if there would be any crime at all, at mga cases, it has to be filed in our local courts. Kasi walang jurisdiction. I think that will be part of the issue in the end. Na walang jurisdiction ang ICC against common crime, against, wala naman ho tayo sa ating libro, yung penal code, ng crime against humanity.
Yeah.
Although these are part of the world order, kaya nga merong ICC, kaya nga primusecute yung mga dictators, because saan patatakbong tao, they can use their own courts. Dito po sa atin, functioning mo yun you can file a case. Kung itong complainant, hintayin yung matapos yung term Duterte, matapos niya, then you can prosecute the case.
Alright. Sige, parang may yung kanina, Professor Dennis, yung binabanggit natin na yung tukol doon sa jurisdiction. Anyway, baka mayroon kang gustong hingin pang pagpapaliwanag kay, sa konteksto niya.
Actually, good evening. By the way, good evening, Dean Valdez. I do agree with your suggestion regarding the, what should have been the position of the defense. That, they should have included the argument that the actions of the former president, which are regarded to as crime against humanity, should have been portrayed as mere crime prevention. That's one. And then I think there's wisdom in your suggestion that if we go back to world history, And if we compare the former president's actions to the, say, for example, to the actions of the African dictators and the Cambodian dictator Pol Pot, then Duterte's case would be a different case. But I'd like to ask, Dean, did the prosecution successfully establish the foundation of its case during its opening statement?
Hindi ko na-monitor yan. Si Dennis ba ito? Si Dennis?
Yes, that
Yes,
was
po.
Dennis. That's
So,
Dennis.
yeah, Dennis, hindi ko na-monitor yun. But I don't think they had a valid argument. Ang tawag natin dyan shoehorning. Yung shoehorning, pag hindi lalapat yung paa mo doon sa sapatos mo, pinuputol mo yung paa mo. Para makasuot ka ng sapatos. Which is clearly already a fallacious argument. So nag-shoehorning lang yung prosecution. I think they want to prove that their office is still functioning, their office is still relevant to world affairs. Yung kay Putin na lang, for example, hindi ba crime against humanity yun? Ang laki-laki ng property mo, you own practically 1/3 of the world, you still want to get Ukraine.
Yeah.
Tapos, lot of deaths as a result of the war. Yes, crime against humanity yun, sir. Pero yung kay President Duterte, ang layo dyan sa mga examples na yan, sir. And if you want to define crime against humanity, it has been defined by the crime by the case of Pol Pot. It's been defined by the crime committed in the Holocaust by Hitler against the Jewish people. Very clear example ho yan. Madali naman i-define yan because you know what is black, you know what is white. Ngayon, they are defining it by shoehorning, pinuputol nila yung paan nila just so they could function. So pag may mga napatay in the course of this campaign against drugs, it is not a crime against humanity. May namatay, may homicide, may murder, kung nag-overreach yung mga police, then we have to prosecute them under our own system, under our own legal institutions.
All right. Dean Valdez, as we go further in this conversation, I just need to ask this question. How do you think, how effective was the defense in framing the proceedings as something that is politically motivated?
Well, effective because yung kanilang moves is attracting people's attention to President Duterte. Kasi ang naka-trial, what is at trial dyan, is style of governance. And yung once the attention of the world will be directed towards the president, and they did it right, then they will try to evaluate the risk he took in order to address your day-to-day problem, serious day-to-day problem natin.
Okay. All right. We'll just take a quick break. But when we return, we shift our focus to the courtroom itself, examining the performance of lead defense counsel, Attorney Nicholas Kaufman, and how the prosecution presented its case during the ICC confirmation hearings. Who gained early ground and whose arguments carried more weight at this crucial stage of the proceedings. Stay with us. The PH Insider will be right back after the break.
We multiply the good for Filipinos nationwide. We drive learning. We promote wellness. We help rebuild lives. We turn hope into possibilities. We care for our players. We advance digital skills and employment. We bridge accessible healthcare to the underserved. We respond in times of disaster. We grant wishes that bring hope and opportunities. We champion responsible entertainment.
With this project by Bingo Plus Foundation, it really could help a lot of students and ignite their hope to innovate, to love science, to pursue research in academic but also in their professional life.
Wala na yung mga dumi galing sa tubig, malinaw. Safe na po yung tubig namin. Thank you!
Kayo po ang ilaw ng aming buhay at tahanan po. Sa loob po ng 20 years, nagkailaw din po kami.
Maraming salamat kasi natupad yung kahilingan ko po na magkaroon ng sariling tindahan. As in, sobrang saya po namin mag-ina.
I think what DigiPlus and Bingo Plus is doing is really remarkable, and I really affirm you guys for that kasi like this one is a very big step.
Together, let's help Filipinos thrive and win in life.
The best players succeed because they set boundaries. Every great athlete wins with control. Always have a game plan.
Welcome back to the PH Insider. Before the break, we discussed the broader implications of the ongoing ICC confirmation hearings involving former President Rodrigo Duterte. This time, we turn our attention inside the courtroom, focusing on the performances of lead defense counsel, Attorney Nicholas Kaufman, and the prosecution during their respective presentations. How did both sides deliver their arguments? Which legal strategies stood out? And what impact could these early exchanges have as the proceedings move forward? Let's continue the discussion. Still with us in this conversation tonight is the Dean of the UE College of Law, Dean Amado Valdez. Sir, ano po yung assessment nyo dito? Ito pong overall performance ng lead itong defense counsel, si Attorney Kaufman, during the ICC confirmation hearings. Did his presentation effectively challenge the prosecution's narrative at this early stage of the proceedings?
Ang problema dyan, sir, is whether he has offended the sensibilities of the judges. Kasi human beings din. Kaya he was only tight-put. So, if he argues strongly, because that is the most, that's the best option, but it might be taken as making one upmanship over the judges. So the problem dyan is the case may proceed to a hearing. But the objective naman ni Kaufman dyan is after this, he will file a motion to dismiss. So, deal of particulars, bill of particulars para enumerate na nyo kung ano ba yung mga crimes against humanity.
Alright.
And then go for a motion to dismiss.
Alright, I think that's all for now unless may caballeros here who
Wala na
still like to
akong
ask a
maitatanong pa kay Dean.
All right.
Well said, well
Any message now for the Filipino people, Dean, as far as maybe a few more statements for the Filipino people?
Then let's pray that justice is done. Yun lang.
All right.
Justice is done. And let's pray, and I think the justice will be given here for the Filipino people, not. But there are victims. I think the victims could always go to our local courts and ask for compensation. Just in case. But hindi naman sila matatala. Everybody will win or lose in a particular. Regardless of what.
Okay. All right.
Okay, sir. Thank you for having me. Thank you, sir. Thank you all. Tony Unay and Dennis. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Dean.
much po, Dean.
Thank you for joining us tonight, Dean. We appreciate your time. Dean, Attorney Amado Valdez, the former Dean of the UE College of Law. Yeah. All right, pag-usapan na natin ito. Napakadaming inputs, no? Professor Dennis, Attorney Sandro. Sige, anong tututukan muna natin? Itong argumento nga, during the presentation. In the first couple of days of the proceedings, itong confirmation of charges, both parties were able to lay down the cards on the table. They were able to do the presentations. Their arguments were vaguely expressed. Anong tingin natin? Sino mas nangingibabaw doon yan? Sige nga.
Si Dean.
Curious ako dito kay
si
Dr. Dennis Coronation.
Si Dr. Coronation muna.
Sige.
Actually, parehong maganda yung yung mga yung respective arguments nila. Yung sa prosecution side, ang gustong sabihin, kagaya yung pinoint out kanina ng attorney, is that there's a hierarchy. There's a command structure. Command responsibility. Na kung magman, it's not just the action of a single individual. Kundi there's a this is an action of so many individuals. And on top of this hierarchy was the president, the former president. On the other hand, sa kabila naman, sinasabi, well, this is politically motivated. Di ba? Kaya sabi ng defense, magandang magandang explore pareho. Oo, kaya yun ang gusto kong itanong kay attorney.
Hindi, maganda kasi yung yung pagdi-discredit din sana ni Kaufman kasi ang laro lang naman talaga dito niya ay i-discredit niya yung nilalatag ng prosecution para hindi ma-admit. Kung yung allegations niya na politically motivated itong lahat, mas maganda sana, tama si Dr. Dennis, na dinagdagan niya nung sinasabi ni Dr. Dennis na ito pwede naman sana ito dito, our courts are functioning here, dito lang ito dapat. Bakit ito dinala dito? Precisely because it is politically motivated. So, isa yun sa mga maganda sanang inano ni Kaufman. Binigyan ng diin. But then again, siguro, ang nakikita niya, because ang laro talaga dito ay, ito ang uphill dito talaga yung prosecution.
Sinasabi kasi noon, na kaya naman din dinala sa ICC dahil nga kung dito sasampahan ng kaso, ang dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte ay hindi daw uusad o walang mangyayari. Noon, lalo na nung siya ay presidente pa. Because I believe marami ng groups ang interesado noon na magsampa. Pero tila, kailangan pa bang dalhin sa ICC para ma-resolve itong mga di umano'y extrajudicial killings na mga nangyari during his time? Or pwede namang dito na lang pag-usapan? Ay, patuloy na debate yan. Kasi ang argumento ng depensa sa ngayon ay nananatili, I believe, na sabi pa nga, we have a robust justice system. It should be done here. Na hindi nga binabanggit doon.
But to be fair sa mga nagdududa sa justice system natin, palagay ko ang hugot nila.
Okay.
Ito I'm just being objective here. Palagay ko ang hugot nila, matagal nila sinasabi na majority, in fact more than half of the Supreme Court ay appointee ni President Duterte.
Okay.
But can you blame the man? constitutional duty niya yan na mag-appoint. Sa panahon niya, maraming nababakante, hindi naman po pwede na hindi siya mag-appoint.
Bakit hindi palitan yung mga in-appoint kung talaga may duda?
I-impeach mo yun. pero ito lang pero ito lang ang napansin ko.
Position yung...
Nung dinala siya sa Hague, nung time na yon, may petition agad-agad na dinala sa Supreme Court. If I remember, sina Attorney Vic Rodriguez. Kung nandun agad ang pagkampi ng Supreme Court, ng majority ng Supreme Court, bakit hindi nangyari yun? Nadala pa rin siya. Walang TRO, right immediate TRO na nangyari. So, yun. It remains to be weighed ng mga tao kung bakit tama ba na dalhin siya sa ICC despite this thing. Kasi nadidebunk din naman yung mga sinasabi nila na more than the majority ng Supreme Court ay appointee ni President Duterte. Di ba? So, yun ang aking namang punto sa to be objective about the both sides.
Actually, ang tinutumbok ko kasi talaga natin dito, remember that I think, if I'm not mistaken, these complaints were filed during his presidency pa.
Right.
He was still president. Kaya nga lang, inabot na to ng pagbaba niya sa pwesto, at doon lang nagkaroon ng mga major developments sa pag-usad ng kaso. What we're trying to point out, I think this is what most scholars are trying to point out, even in civil society, na kapag ikaw ay VIP o naging high-ranking government official like the president, ang problema is that we have here a culture of impunity. Ibig sabihin, kung mataas na tao ka at may mga wrongdoings ka habang ikaw ang nasa pwesto, ang mangyayari, papagkibit-balikat na lamang ng mga Pilipino. Tinotolerate ng karamihan ng mga Pilipino.
Pikit mata na lang.
Pikit mata na lang. Kaya yun ang takot ng mga gustong i-prosecute si former President Duterte. Na kapag sa local courts, kasi kahit hindi na siya yung presidente, may influence pa rin siya. Gaya nga sinasabi ni Attorney at saka kayo, na I think still majority of the Supreme Court justices
Were appointed
by the former president and possibly would have a debt of gratitude to the former president.
Pinoy tayo. Utang na loob. Okay.
Pero ang exception doon na
sige.
sinabi kanina ni Jean Amado Valdez ay, bakit naman si ERAP? Presidente naman din siya noon. Diba? Na mag-shot din naman siya, nakulong din siya dito. Na-carry over yung ano niya dito, yung kaso niya. So,
Well, sabi pa nga nung isa nating kaibigan. Dito din, kung hahayaan sana dito mangyari, o dito yung mga proceedings na yan gagawin, it's also a test din ng justice system natin. And dito rin natin makikita kung talagang patas nga ba at pinapractice yung tama, kung anong tama. Di ba? Hindi yung kasi palagay ko lahat ito parang dahil nga paano to pinagdududahan mo yung kakayanan o pagiging impartial ng mga nasa Korte Suprema o nasa Judikatura para timbangin ang merits ng merito ng mga kasong ito.
I think it's not so much on the partiality or impartiality. Kung di ang problema yung mga institutions natin Whether or not our institutions, including the judiciary, are capable of, not being influenced by political forces.
Yun na nga
As they go on in performing their functions.
This is when you'll be able to show the public how independent you are. Notwithstanding the fact that at one point you were appointed by, let's say, the president himself or by the administration.
pero palagay ko, ang pagkakaiba ng ERAP, Estrada at saka Duterte, kung kukontrahin ko yung sarili ko.
Sige.
Grabe ang following ng Duterte. Dito sa Pilipinas, pati sa abroad, makita mo naman, kahit sa Hague, nandun sila. So, probably, inisip din itong mga nag-aakusa kay Presidente, mahihirapan tayo dito. Medyo talaga mabigat yung ng hangin ng suporta. Isa din yun sa makaka-influence siguro. So, well, of course, it is developing sa political natin, challenges natin dito sa Pilipinas. Nakakalungkot na nakikita natin na parang lahat na lang ng galawan natin, hindi po pwedeng walang anggulo ng politika. Pero isa pa pala, naalala ko ngayon, dapat kanina pa ito, natatanong ko sana kay
Dean Valdez.
Paano itong affidavit nitong 18 na Marines? Makaka-apekto pa ba ito? Kasi sinasabi dito, meron silang mga allegations na in-influensyan daw from the money. At saka yung mga in-interview lang yung mga investigators ng ICC dito sa Pilipinas ay yung ibinigay lang sa kanila ni Senator Trillanes, former Senator Trillanes.
Pero alam mo, may argument dyan na narinig ko din eh. Hindi naman, wala naman daw bearing yung mga binigyan na investigators. Kung binigyan nga o tumanggap nga naman. Dahil una, hindi naman sila magde-decide, hindi naman sila judge eh.
Oo.
Di ba? Pero, I mean, kung meron man bearing, siguro nakikita ko doon, at the end of the day, siguro doon sa konteksto na yung pag-i-issue ng warrant, gano'n lang. Pero hindi doon sa kabuuan ng kaso. Pero, I don't know, maraming kuro-kuro dyan. Is that really possible for them to receive $2 million? And paano mo ilalabas nga naman ng bansa? Saan mo gagamitin dito yung 100+ million pesos or pesos dito sa Pilipinas? Considering few days lang naman. May mga ganong argument. Pero pag-uusapan natin yan sa ibang episode natin. Balik lang tayo dito sa usaping itong presentation ng depensa at saka ng prosecution. Kasi may mga legal strategy I understand that they employ, no? Especially, for example, the prosecution as represented by the defense as represented by its counsel, si Attorney Kaufman. Ano ba yung mga tingin mo pinaka-evident na approach to defend the former president?
Well,
Sige, go ahead, please.
I think ang isa sa mga ni-raise is that yung mga na-capture ng mga videos, speeches ni former president, ang sinasabi nung counsel, si Attorney Kaufman, was that they were all just rhetoric and hyperbolic, na-exaggerate lang niya. Pag sinabi niya, patayin niyo yan, yung ganun. So, hindi naman daw talaga, walang intent on the part of the former president to have those suspects killed.
Pwedeng bluff lang daw.
Just to instill discipline.
Yes.
And to instill fear, para takot.
Psychological warfare.
Parang deterrent.
Nauso yung Saywar noon, yung panahon ni Fidel Ramos. Anyway, dito hindi ginagamit. Pero parang ganun lang sinasabi.
Oo, tama. So parang ang doon is that patunayan mo intent. Nagsalita nga yung Pangulo, pero patunayan yung intent. Yung nagsasabihin sa prosecution.
Well, doon nila hihimayin yun hindi niya gagawin yan dyan kasi malalatag na kaagad yung pinaka-main evidence niya kung pupunta man sa trial. So, ang na lang natin dyan siguro, interestingly, napansin ko, naaral natin na pati pala itong mga public statements, speeches, public interviews, ay pala sa ICC. At tinatanggap din pala ito as evidences.
Lalo kasi pronouncements ang dating sa kanila.
Yes. Ang problema lang kung paano mo yun i-connect papunta dun sa actual na commission ng crime.
Yun yung aabangan natin.
Yun.
Okay. For the meantime, we'll just pause for a break. So when the PH Insider returns, we continue our in-depth coverage as Balakanyang clarifies that there are currently no discussions on the Philippines rejoining the International Criminal Court following renewed calls from lawmakers urging the country's return to the ICC in line with its human rights commitments and international obligations. All these developments and their possible implications when the PH Insider on TV returns after the break.
We multiply the good for Filipinos nationwide. We drive learning. We promote wellness. We help rebuild lives. We turn hope into possibilities. We care for our players. We advance digital skills and employment. We bridge accessible healthcare to the underserved. We respond in times of disaster. grant wishes that bring hope and opportunities. We champion responsible entertainment.
With this project by Bingo Plus Foundation, it really could help a lot of students and ignite their hope to innovate, to love science, to pursue research in academic but also in their professional life.
Wala na yung mga dumi galing sa tubig, malinaw. Safe na po yung tubig namin. Thank you!
Kayo po ang ilaw ng aming buhay at tahanan po. Sa loob po ng 20 years nagkailaw din po kami.
Maraming salamat kasi natupad yung kahilingan ko po na magkaroon ng sariling tindahan. As in, sobrang saya po namin mag-ina.
I think what DigiPlus and Bingo Plus is doing is really remarkable, and I really affirm you guys for that kasi like this one is a very big step.
Together, let's help Filipinos thrive and win in life.
Welcome back to the PH Insider on TV. Lawmakers from the Makabayan bloc in the House of Representatives have filed a resolution urging the Philippine government to rejoin the International Criminal Court, or ICC. The group said returning to the ICC would demonstrate the country's commitment to human rights, international law, and accountability. The resolution also aims to restore global confidence in the Philippines justice system and reaffirms its obligations under international treaties. Now, maybe for the final discussion, let's discuss the details of this. Following the resolution filed by the Makabayan bloc, ito mga kabalyero, it urges, yung resolution, it urges the Philippines to rejoin the ICC. Gaano ba ka-realistic itong proposal? Considering the present administration?
Well, para sa akin, hindi yan para sa ngayon. Backup plan yan nila. Just in case manalo si Sara Duterte. No. So, yun yung kaagad ang nakikita kong ano dyan, backup plan yan.
So, kumbaga attorney, parang the Makabayan bloc is already anticipating
Yes.
that there's going to be an EJK 2.0.
No, probably. Kasi sa ngayon pa nga lang, nangangalap na sila ng damay. Pati na sila, yung iba pang mga co-accused na nilalabas ng mga ano. Kung kakailanganin na maisasalid nila dyan si Sara Duterte, later on, pag nanalo siya, at meron siya mga policy, kasi most likely, ngayon pa lang, pronouncement niya, sinasabi niya kaagad na mananagot at kung sino mang lalabag sa batas.
May dagdag ko lang sa sinabi niya ito, interesting yun, kasi
Okay.
Parang tawag dito, advanced thinking na si attorney. Sa akin
I
lang,
mean, hypothetical pa naman to.
yeah.
Until, we reach that period. I mean, that time. Okay.
yeah. Actually, hypothetically speaking, kung gagawin rin natin yun, should we heed the advice of the Makabayan bloc to rejoin the ICC, aren't we admitting, yung pinag-usapan po natin kanina, na yung mga local courts natin, are not strong enough to try cases involving our VIPs, our former state leaders. Diba? Parang magkaakibat yun eh.
Tama.
Parang may admission, mahina ang mga courts natin. So, itapon natin sa ICC to ensure that there's going to be fair trial.
There are currently no discussions on rejoining the ICC. What does this indicate about the administration's foreign policy direction?
Well, it's not the top priority of Malacanang, even the president. So, tingin ko hindi niya top priority yan. And if Malacanang is going to, push through with that idea, it might be used against Malacanang by the opponents of President Bongbong Marcos. Sasabihin, namumuliti ka na naman ng Pangulo possibly pwede itong gamitin sa mga kaaway niya, ipapadala na lamang, magpa-file ng cases sa International Criminal Court, sasabihin na yun ay crime against humanity. Then, tapos, kumbaga man, ipapadala na, ipapa-aresto na. No?
Actually, it could apply to him pag wala na siya. Pagbalik na tayo sa ICC, some of his political enemies or ang kalaban niya, itong mga nangyari na ito, pwedeng mangyari ito. Iba nga lang, hindi nga lang pagpatay. Ito naman, pwedeng ibintang sa kanya itong
makasaysayang, itong
flood
di umano'y or allegedly his involvement in this alleged biggest fiasco in history of the country.
At
I mean,
kung
flood
susundan
control fiasco.
At kung susundan naman yung command of responsibility, it could apply to him also.
Yes.
Wala nang immunity din by the time.
Di ba?
So, pwede ba yun? Anong tingin? Pwede bang dalhin din sa ICC?
It could be.
Oo.
It could be. In fact,
Kasi hindi naman daw siya crime against humanity.
hindi, isa yan sa nabasa ko sa mga comment ni Attorney Conti.
Aha.
Oo.
Okay.
Na posible ho, kahit sino, no?
Yes.
Basta naging state leader.
Yes, generals, yung mga military officers, yun ang mga minsan na nadadala. Hindi lang naman mga presidente, hindi lang naman yung mga head of states nadadala.
Well, one great lawyers that I managed to bump into once told me that nothing really happens by coincidence. It is always providential. Baka naman itong mga pangyayari ngayon, ito na yung magbubukas din ng mga possibilities na sa mga darating na mga panahon. Itong mga leader na mayroong mga tahasang pang-aabuso, pagkakamal ng kaba ng bayan, pera ng bayan, involved sa korupsyon, talagang ang kahantungan nito ay ICC rin. What do you think, Prof. Dennis?
Parang
Kasi
naging
magiging template ito
Oo. At saka parang may institutionalize na talaga, no? Na yung ICC is our court of last resort. Not the Supreme Court anymore.
Yun nga Di ba? Parang ano na. Kasi obviously, mayroong appointment, appointing power dito is the executive. So parang lagi na bang dapat natin pagdudahan yung the veracity of the status of these appointed officers or officers of the court? Ganun ba ang kinakailangan and we'll just ultimately submit to the proceedings, sa International Criminal Court? Lagi pa na.
Palagay ko
ano tingin mo, attorney?
hindi maganda yung ganyan kasi it will reflect on us.
Okay.
So kung yung natin bilang bansa, kung gaano tayo kawalang tiwala sa ating mga sarili o kaya gaano tayo kababa na hindi natin kayang i-govern o disiplina ang ating mga leaders o kaya ang ating demokrasya, hindi natin kayang itaguyod without the help of any outside institution. So para sa akin, hindi maganda yung ganung template na susundan natin.
Yeah, agree ako doon kasi I think if that's going to be our practice, na dalhin yung mga cases sa international court, basta magka-qualify sa mga grounds, it's going to be a reflection of what kind of institutions, state institutions we have.
Yes.
So generally, ang magiging natin dyan image is that we have weak state institutions.
And it will affect our economy. At saka magdo-domino effect na yan, if I may cut you.
Yeah.
Doctor.
Tama ho.
Oh.
Yeah. Nakakalungkot.
I was about to say the same word.
Oo.
Nakakalungkot. It's kind of disheartening to note also na ano bang tingin natin na ako bilang isang Juan de la Cruz? Ano bang dapat ang maging pananaw namin sa pagdating sa usaping kaso involving these high-ranking officials of the country, di ba? Dapat ba talagang isubmit ito doon sa ibayong dagat? Hayaan natin husgahan ito ng ICC at wala na talagang kayahan. Considering that we have this equally independent branches of the government, the judiciary, executive, and the legislative, di ba? Ngayon, siguro naman may sense of independence sana yung judiciary para magpagtanto kung ano ba talaga ang merito ng kaso. Pero it seems now that yung ganito kabibigat na kaso, talagang kailangan natin humingi ng tulong sa mga banyaga.
Alam mo, Sir Ox, buti na bring up mo yan. Kasi if we go down to the level of the ordinary Filipinos, yung ordinary Juan de la Cruz, ano ba ang perception nila o experience nila pagdating sa mga hukuman natin? 'Di ba pero pag ang kalaban nila ay mayaman o makapangyarihan, sasabihin nila ang hustisya ay para lang sa mayaman.
Oo, parang kanta ng Tatsunod yun. Naalala ko si Bambo dyan. Si Gary Granada tuloy. Okay.
So, yun na, kumbaga man, mas may pananalig pa tayo doon sa mga international courts kaysa sa sarili nating courts. Ay, nako.
Umiiling-iling si Atty. Santos. Sige, tama ba yun na kaming mga Juan de la Cruz o pangkaraniwang mamamayan
Of course,
mas
hindi
manalig?
tama yan.
Paglaban mo, attorney.
Sige.
Vehemently object to that idea.
Itama niyo po kami. Ano po ang dapat namin maging pananaw?
Ang siguro dapat natin tingnan yung structure ng ating government. Kasi sa palagay ko, kahit ano pang gawin natin, yung sistema natin, pag hindi natin binago o pinalitan, ganito pa rin ang mangyayari. So,
Medyo malalim na usapin yan.
Hugot.
Yes, parang sasakyan yan na defective. Palitan mo ng palitan ng driver, defektibo yung sasakyan, it doesn't matter. Mangyayari at mangyayari yung nangyayari. So, palagay ko masyado nang tayong wala na tayong gana dito sa unitary system of government natin. Masyado nang master ng mga tiwala ito. Kung paano ito lulusutan, paano kakamkamin ang kaba ng bayan, paano, di ba? Yung power play in a unitary system of government, masyado ng master ng ating mga
They have perfected the art of
to the point na
political machinations and
nahina
manipulations.
na tuloy yung ating yung mga sistema natin, ng democratic systems natin.
May dagdag ko lang sa maganda yung point ni attorney, no? May dagdag ko lang, siguro this is the best time for us to call for judicial reform. Di ba, attorney?
Correct.
Anong klaseng reforma kaya yan, Professor Dennis? Ako, iniisip ko, kailangan na ba kailangan ba itong, dapat i-elect na to, hindi na dapat ina-appoint?
Well, sa ibang mga... Sige, settle niya.
Sige, Professor Dennis.
Gusto ko masundan yung niya eh.
Yung judicial reform na yan. Ako, naiisip ko dyan, kasi parang walang utang na loob doon sa mga appointing officers. So, in order for us to ensure that there's going to be an independent...
Actually, very complex yung yung problema ng judiciary natin. Mas expert si attorney dyan.
ang sa akin po, yung sistema talaga natin. Kasi masyado ng talamak yung ganitong pangyayari. Hindi lang nangyayari ito dito sa taas. Down to the barangay levels. Ganun na rin po. Palakasan system, padrino system, and we elect our leaders not on the basis of their party policies, but based on the personalities. So, masyadong mababang para sa atin. Sabi pa ni Plato, that city is just as good as the leaders that they elect.
Yeah,
correct.
Kung ganyan ang ini-elect nating mga leaders, yun ang reflection natin.
O kaya may dagdag ko lang sasabi, last point. Idagdag ko lang na sa sobrang walang tiwala siguro yung mga ordinaryong mamamayan sa ating judicial system. Yung iba nagre-resort na dun sa magsusumbong na lang kay Tulfo.
Yes.
Kasi yun, swift and instant justice, tatawagan lang ng host, tapos ayan na.
Papahiya sa
Ipapahiya, tapos ayan na, nakuha na yung hustisya. Well, that's not good, That's not good. That's why we should restore the integrity of our justice system. Yeah.
Correct. Malaking trabaho to.
Sige. Alright, bago tayo tuluyan magwakas, final statements tayo dito. Anong pananaw mo dito? Yung pangkabuuan dito sa ICC, and ikaw ba, meron ko bang nakikitang dapat panigan na between the prosecution as they've laid down the cards on the table?
Actually, ako naman, nasa an observer, sa akin lang, gusto kong tingnan, gusto kong ikumpara yung paano i-conduct ng ICC yung tinatawag na fair and impartial trial, which is a big question sa mga local courts natin. Ayoko munang pumanig Pero of course, syempre, as a professor, a political science professor, we always want to see to it that human rights are respected, that there is rule of law, and that there is accountability. So from that alone, meron akong bias towards, of course, the prosecution. Na sana magtagumpay yung prosecution. But then again, it all depends on the evidence, the strength of the evidence that will be presented by both sides. So ayoko muna i-preempt, ayoko muna humusga. Tingnan natin yung katapusan.
Well, sa akin, napaka-exciting itong nangyayari. Siguro, after all these things have been over, matututo tayo, marami tayong matututunan as a society, bilang bansa sa mga nangyayari. So, hintayin natin kung ano ang kaganapan doon, na ilatag na at ilalatag pa kung halimbawa magdire-diretso sa trial yung kaso o kaya ilan sa mga charges. At ito, tama si Dr. Dennis, sana maging model itong justice system dito na umuusad ngayon sa ICC. Hindi lang dito sa atin sa Pilipinas, kundi sa buong mundo para maipakita talaga na ganito umusad ang totoong hustisya.
Yeah.
Para sa akin, it is kind of or sort of premature kung alin sa dalawa, sa depensa at saka sa prosekusyon ang dapat panigan. Pero at the end of the day, as I earlier said, sabi ko, it probably providential ito. Ito siguro yung pagkakataon bilang isang pangkaraniwang mamayan kami na makita ng marami ng taong bayan, hindi lang ng mga Pilipino, buong mundo na nagsusubaybay sa kasong ito, kung paano talaga gagampanan ng tama ang papel ng ICC hinggil sa usaping ito.
Yeah.
Lalo na at ang concern dito ay head of state, isang malaking individual, presidente, former president ng bansa. Tignan natin ang mga kaganapan as the proceedings go on and on. Tonight on the PH Insider, the political and legal fault lines surrounding the Philippines take center stage as the International Criminal Court moves forward with the confirmation of charges against former President Rodrigo Duterte. While the defense brands the proceedings as politically driven, the prosecution presses its case before the world, reigniting a fierce debate at home on accountability, sovereignty, and the limits of state power. At the same time, lawmakers are calling on Malacanang to reconsider the country's return to the ICC, a move the administration says remains off the table. As institutions collide and narratives compete, the question now extends beyond the courtroom. Is this a pursuit of justice or a battle that will redefine the country's political landscape? Magandang gabi, ako po si Ox Balyado. With a veteran political analyst, Dr. Dennis Coronation.
Nagalak po ako at nakasama na naman ako sa malalim na talakayan tungkol sa issue ng ICC at confirmation of charges. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Professor Dennis. And of course, ang ating batikang abogado.
Yes.
Nagbabalik.
Buti naman at nakapagbalik na ako dito. Sana tuloy-tuloy na ang aking attendance. Magandang gabi sa inyong lahat.
Hanggang sa muli nating paghihimay-himay ng mga balitang may pakialam ka. This is the program where we cut through the noise, confront the gaps, and demand the answers the nation deserves. This is the PH Insider on TV.